just come and have a seat as quickly as you can, and then we'll move on. Right, thank you very much. I see those the threats have worked. Okay, let's talk about this final session. So we've been speaking about the importance of technology today, and we've been talking about the importance, I think it's come up in every discussion, about the importance of technology and what it adds in terms of communicating with and adding to communities and to society. So I have a little quote for you here. Technology is the opportunity to embrace significant changes in learning. So that's the view of Guillermo Leal, who is the academic director of ARC Technologies in Mexico. Now, Guillermo has worked in many countries, including Switzerland, looking at improving the educational digital environments in which we're working. And now he coordinates Apple's professional development program working in schools and in higher education institutions. So would you please give a warm welcome to Guillermo Leal.
Thank you very much for everyone. It has been an amazing day. I always keep on track of my learning, and I do it by two things. The first one is the answer of questions, and the second one, the one I like the most, is when there are more questions. So I have more questions for all of the experts that have been here. It's amazing what they shared, what they learn, and having them is amazing to listen to them. So my turn is to speak about just a little bit of how technology has changed the environment and the learning environment, the way we live. It has been taught, everyone has talked about it, but in simple terms, an old lady once told me, technology is everything that wasn't there when you were born, right? So that makes sense. So she was amazing, but she was using an iPad, and she was moving on what she wanted to do. So the new generations, they're just facing challenges in a different way. And there's another story. This chart is going to show you how the different technologies have been adopted for different generations. So the generation, the people that has 3 years right now, they already live in the iPad era. So 4 years ago, there was no iPad, no tablets. For most of the university guys, most of our students are already there. They were born when Google was 3 years old. So it's very interesting. And I saw in Colombia a student. He was doing a TED Talk. So then he started his conference and said, 7 years ago, when my mom gave me an iPhone, and I realized, whoa, it's been 7 years since that technology is with us. And he now is, he has developed some apps, and his apps are in the App Store. And we interview them, and we interview him, and we ask him, well, what do you think that should be happening in your school? What's the interesting part? This is his words. So I just wrote his words, and he say, well, we need some sense making. We're talking, most of the experts here, we need to make sense. We need to bring on the outside world to the classroom. So we need to engage the students in problems and problem solving and creating stuff and taking stuff to the real life. So and even it's one of the skills of the future work skills that for you students, guys, the future work skills are in 5 years. So, and why is that? Why is that we need to focus more in connecting people with things that make sense where they are? Because John Medina says that we process meaning before we process details. So what's very interesting about this panel is that we are involved in this meaning of what's happening. And those details, then we pull the details and then we construct knowledge. So that's what I love about it. So how can our students demonstrate their knowledge? They go through, if they go through real-world challenges, new challenges, then they focus on the meaning. I believe that technology in these times allows you to create a lot of solutions and demonstrate solutions. If I told you that you can create animations and 3D graphics right now in your iPad, maybe you're not surprised. But 5 or 10 years ago, you say, well, I'm not a programmer. So I believe I have been thinking all this yesterday and today, which are the new challenges that you can face in this industry. So it's very interesting. How can you integrate technology in innovative ways? Because you don't only need coding. Your devices right now, they can take pictures. They have GPS. They have sensors. They can interact more with us. And so how can most of the work I do is with teachers to embrace their work, to take their wisdom and take their knowledge to get to the students in different ways and change the way the students are experiencing learning. So I believe that Seymour Papert quote is very interesting because we need to provide, the teachers must provide these environments that we're even going to change as they look. It's going to be different. I believe it's going to be different. I have seen some different environments. So here's an example. I pick up physics because I know it's this boring subject, and I would say, you want to be a boring? No, I don't. I really want to make it interesting. So right now, with technology, you can take those experiments to life and see what happens when you drop a paper and then connect it to the graphic of what you're doing. So that makes sense. That makes experiment. And I've heard in the panel of entrepreneurship something amazing. They learn by experience. So they bring their hypothesis and say, I'm going to do this and see what happened. And then in that process, they learn. And they go back and forward. So what's the new classroom pedagogy look like? We need to change these paradigms and the way we see it. So we always have the content and the community. We already say that it's impossible to learn if you're not a social person. You don't socialize your knowledge. That's what's happening right here. And it's what's happening right now. So that's why I'm talking so fast, because I want some questions. And I thought I will be scared with the audience, but I can't see anything. So I was more scared when a couple of months, I worked with 10-year students, so that was scary. Believe me, that was scary. So we need to add a word that also came into the conversation. So we need to add some context and problem solving. If we add this third element in the pedagogy, we now put our students and our learners in the place where they can give solutions, and to think about problems that we didn't even think about, or that they existed on, and we as teachers have to change the role to become learners in that process. So to allow the students to move in the third dimension, where they can freely move through finding the solutions, to creating with the tools that allow them to give multiple solutions and multiple ways to show the solutions. That's the interesting part. And so how the role changes. I believe this is what we have seen in the classrooms where they, as Ross said at the beginning, my quote, we bring technology, things change. So I believe that the role of the teacher must change more to a design in a framework. So keep on bringing these experts to our students, design those frameworks and solve those solutions, then ask some questions, but not the essential questions. Let the students to generate those essential questions and set and enforce the standards. Let's give them the opportunity to set those standards and apply them. Collaboration, communication, sense-making, cross-cultural competences, okay? Okay, students, I really want to, this is for you, contribute content and shape the challenge. Why don't you bring the content in the classroom? Why don't you bring it? Help your teachers to find all the information that's out there and do something with it. Because they're going to contribute with wisdom. How much wisdom have we seen today? It's a lot of wisdom. So, and facilitate those connections. And my favorite, you gotta work more. The teachers right now, they work so much. I guess things have to change. Sorry, but you have to work much more than your teachers. And then the teachers have to guide. And why not? To push. Someone said it in the conference, we got to push them, we got to move them forward, okay? So here are some success stories of visions, because we englobe everything in a vision, and we need to see what's happening, what's going on. Money saving, that's why I pick up the first one. Savings for Philadelphia and Pennsylvania string theory schools. They use technology that allow them to be more paperless and move through delivering content for those who can't were even willing to pay for it. Medical schools, they scored more in higher national exams. So there it has been proven by Harvard that if you apply challenge-based learning, your students will get better results in standardized testing, okay? Inquiry of learning, I just marked those words because inquiring and learning is very important. It's very interesting. How can we create this, we cultivate this curiosity in our students to move on, move forward, and find those questions by themselves? The ESA Academy in United Kingdom, it's a very interesting project if you have time to read it. It's a success story of how a school changed all the vision, the pedagogical vision, and they went to 10% of increased pass rate, 100%. And the primary teachers of Victoria Department of Education, they say there are more improved literary outcomes. There's students must write and write more and in much more ways. And this is the last of the results, and I like it a lot because it's talking about special needs. It's about accessibility and including people that need to potentialize what they are willing and able to do. Even us, as we're not in person with needs, we can't potentialize what we do. But even technology right now allows them to communicate, to learn, to increase, and to face the challenges and to present their own challenges. So, at last, I resume this, I believe that the teachers must do 5 things. The first one is to simplify what they're doing. Why don't we simplify instead of bringing these whole books of curriculum and they fill the books? Why don't you simplify the challenges? Simplify your students to challenge themselves. They need to adapt. They need to learn to adapt because the new generations move faster than us, and we're just trying to get them. There's a school here in Switzerland that the problem of the teachers was, my students, they don't use email. They only use social network to communicate. So I say, well, let's get on the train. If you don't get there, you can't fit the old things into the new things. Engage the students, motivate them, mine information, because we need to focus on meaning, and then collaborate. And my last, that's my nephew. Sorry, I'm a Latin American, so we're very family focused. And I always, I have a friend that he actually lives in Miami. He's 34. He's still in school. You say, what? 34 years and he's still in school? Yes, he's working very hard to become a neurologist and practice neurology in the United States. So I was talking to him and I say, oh my God, 34 years in school. How do you feel? It's been tough. I have learned a lot, but you got to do something because we spent the best time of our lives, our youth, in the classroom and in the schools. So we better do something about it because we're really, the school is not about preparing you for life. The school is it's life itself. So thank you very much. And if you have some questions, gracias. That was quick. So, any questions?
No, well,
No? Okay.
you're so captivating
No.
that everyone's been listening to you and not putting them on the iPad. So let's see if
I
anyone's
think everyone's
got any.
tired, so I just went
No,
through
that's
very
great.
fast.
So would anyone like to ask a question now of Guillermo? So if you'd like to ask a question, just pop your hand up and we'll get a microphone to you. So I can't see on any on the app unless I've missed it. Did anyone ask anything on the app that I've missed?
Yes?
No? We
Yes.
did. Okay, so let's just get a microphone to you. So just put your hand up there if you will. Just a second. Wait, just there. Can we just get a microphone? Is that okay? Sorry, we're catching you a little bit by surprise, but there's nothing come through on the app there. That's okay. It's just this gentleman at the front, Nicola, just up here. So we're sort of in the middle a bit. Lovely, just so lovely. Thank you very much. He's on his way.
48, perfect.
My question is, what are the barriers to introducing technology in teaching and learning at primary, secondary, and tertiary education levels? I mean, are there similarities? Are there differences? And what are they?
Well, I have seen similarities in those grades you're talking. The biggest barrier I have seen and across many countries is that teachers want to keep on with same practices. Sometimes teachers bring the same, say, I want my students to make this exercise, and I want it in the iPad. So I say, well, why don't you think new stuff that your students can do? So I think that's the biggest challenge I have seen. And secondary school, I worked as a secondary teacher, so I was teaching 14-year students. So someone say that if you work with that age, you can do anything. So, it's a very creative age. So I made an experiment. I wanted to know how far can we go as human beings when we are 14 years old or 13 years old. So then I brought to the classroom the challenge of applying artificial intelligence, algorithms, and game theory without lecturing them, just bringing them the challenge. And it was amazing because all of them achieved, most of them achieved how to program a computer and how we can play with it. And the most interesting thing is that they challenge us back. You see in those programs that they were interacting with you and saying, okay, Memo, do you want to beat me? So give me your best shot. So that's one challenge. And the other one in preschool and the little kids, it has to be implemented in stations or environments where they can move and be part of the whole environment instead of a specific task. Okay? Did I answer your question? Yes? Okay, perfect. Any other questions? No? I just can't see. Sorry. Yes?
So I wanted to know what's your views on online learning versus classroom learning?
Wow, that's a good question. I believe that there's nothing like this social interaction. It's lovely. It's amazing, and you share and you see how they talk, they move. So I believe that online learning should be, we should use both. Both has to be in this, both has to be. Maybe the online can be for all the content. Okay, so you go home and get all the content. A couple of minutes ago, I was talking with some of the other speakers, and they say, well, we train our human resources in online, but we have to come and actually do stuff. So I believe that you need to use both of them wise and bring to the classroom the experiments, the doing, this social interaction. Yes?
We've got time for maybe just one more. Maybe I think we've answered the first and the bottom one. Maybe you can just take that middle one. It's what do you think about teaching?
Yeah, perfect. How do you think about teaching how to code in school? Wow, I don't know who did it, but Francois, you have been doing amazing questions through the whole session, so thank you very much. You challenged me. I think I'm just working right now in a project to introduce coding in secondary, iOS coding, Swift coding, and I have seen schools using, my nephews using coding tools since he's 4 years old. So I believe that coding allows you to think different, and the logical thinking is very useful. So most of the time we miss that because we keep on focusing on algebra and those tools, and we miss the logical thinking. So the logical thinking is very useful for decision making. So yeah, incorporate from the very early ages. Yes.
Okay.
Any other question?
We
Here.
have one more. Okay, so where we are. We have one more. We'll make this the last one if we may.
Here.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Hi. In hospitality industry, most of the exchanges are in real life.
Yes.
Anyway, is it possible for the education in this industry to use technology, for example, by using MOOC, massive online courses?
Okay. Well, we've seen that we have these tools. One of the first statements is that you have the possibility you have an audience of 189 countries with a click and for free. So I believe that the content is already there. It's been taken care of. So my question is to you, how can you think that you can apply these technologies that allow you more interaction to innovate in your environment? So yeah, the content's going to be there, but what do you think you need? The challenge would be for your industries, why don't you think in problems and find a solution with apps? That's a good challenge. Maybe you won't code it, or maybe you will. Some of your students could. But you can also work with another institutions, because at time for time, someone said here, you need to work with financial, and dealing with geeks could be a serious matter. So I don't know if I answered the question.
All right.
Chris?
Wonderful. Thank you very much. No, I like the way that you put the question back, because I think what you've done for us is you've really challenged us, really started getting us to think about how we improve our digital
Thank you very
environments.
much.
So can we just say a big thank you very much to
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you very much for us.
Perfect.